Unit 5. First, Dirichlet condition. Dirichlet condition. Conditions. Consider a function. Consider a function f of x defined in minus L strictly less than x strictly less than L. X lies between minus L to L such that first condition f of x and f dash of x are piecewise continuous CTS means continuous in interval minus L to L. Minus L strictly less than x, which is strictly less than L. Okay. Here L are small. Minus L to L. 3 minus L to L. And second condition f of x is periodic. It's periodic with period 12. That is f of x plus 2L is equal to f of x. These are called Dirichlet म्हणा किंवा डिक्लेट म्हणा कंडिशन्स. ठीक है. Dirichlet conditions consider a function f of x defined in minus L to L open interval. X lies between minus L to L such that f of x and its derivative are piecewise continuous in open interval minus L to L. Okay. And second condition, f of x is periodic with period 2L. That is f of x plus 2L is equal to f of x. Okay. These are called Dirichlet condition. Finite Fourier sign transformation. Finite Fourier. Next, finite Fourier sign transform. Let f of x satisfy. Let f of x satisfy Dirichlet's conditions in the interval open 0 to L, then the finite Fourier sine, then the finite Fourier sine transform of sine transform of f of x is fs of n and is defined as f s of f of x is equal to fs of n, which is equal to integration 0 to L f of x 0 to L f of x sine n pi x sine n pi x divided by L into dx. Okay, into dx, where n is an integer. Okay, finite Fourier sine transform. Let f of x satisfy Dirichlet's condition in the interval open 0 1. Then the finite Fourier sine transform of f of x is fs of n and is defined as fs of f of x is equal to fs of n is equal to integration 0 to L fx sine n pi x upon L dx, where n is an integer. Inverse Fourier sine transform. Inverse Fourier sine transform. Okay. The function f of x is called the inverse Fourier sine transform of fs of n, and we write f of x is equal to fs inverse fs of n. Okay. Inverse Fourier sine transform. The function fx is called the inverse Fourier sine transform of fs of n, and we write fx is equal to fs inverse of fs of n. Finite Fourier finite Fourier cosine transform finite Fourier cosine transform. Let f of x satisfy let f of x satisfy Dirichlet condition in the interval open 0 to L. The finite Fourier cosine transform the finite Fourier cosine transform the finite Fourier cosine transform of f of x is fc of n and defined as fc of f of x is equal to fc of n, which is equal to integration 0 to L f of x cos n pi x upon L dx, where n is an integer. Okay. Finite Fourier cosine transform. Let f of x satisfy Dirichlet condition in the interval open 0 to L. ठीक है. The finite Fourier cosine transform of f of x is fc of n. C stand for cosine and defined as fc of f of x is equal to fc of n, which is equal to integration 0 to L fx cos n pi x upon L into dx. Here n is an integer. Okay.